Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a new day. I think I'm just gonna cook something easy today, and what I'm going to do is make a pot of pinto beans in the slow cooker. So I've already got my beans rinsed. I already checked them. Looks like I missed one. But I already went through them and rinsed them off so they're ready to be put in the slow cooker. And just to show you what I'm looking for, I'm sure you know what you're looking for when you cook beans. One of them is this, I don't know if it's focused or not, but pebbles, little rock pebbles. And another one is these half beans that look kind of dark, like they've been out in the sun too long. And this one also, it's a full bean, but it's so shriveled up, it's like a shriveled raisin or a prune. So those are just the kind of things I take out of there. But we're going to go ahead and put our beans in here. And usually I do this on the stove top, but I did try slow cooker beans once. And I don't know, I think it was when I did the Dollar Tree week-long meal challenge. And I cooked my beans in the slow cooker. So I've got them in there, and I'm using I don't know if I said that already, I'm just using 1 pound of beans. I went ahead and weighed them, so 1 pound, and I'm just going to throw in my water. Okay, the amount of water you put in doesn't matter as long as the beans are covered. And right there was a total of 8 cups of water. And I only use like that because this is the biggest cup I have. Alright, so I've got 8 cups of water in there. I've got a pound of pinto beans in there. And I'm going to go ahead and cover them up, put them on low. And it should take about 6 hours to cook on low. Meanwhile, in between, I'll go back and put salt in there for flavor. You put whatever you want. But what I'm going to end up doing with these is taking some out, and I'll be making some charro beans for Glenn. And I'll refry some for myself. So, yeah. So right now, we're just going to let these cook. Doesn't get any easier than that. Alright everyone, so I am going to start making the charro beans. Again, that means cowboy beans. Charro is just Spanish for cowboy. So we just call it charro beans. So besides the pinto beans that I'll be using, I cooked up some bacon. I've got some, now normally it would be onions, but these are shallots. We had ordered shallots for another meal at one time, but they weren't what Glenn thought they were. So we didn't use them for that meal, but we still need to use them. So I cut those up in lieu of the onion. So, but from what I see, they look like a red onion. Alright, so, and I'm also going to use pork chorizo and a can of hot Rotel tomatoes. Alright, so I'm going to get the chorizo going. The beans are actually still cooking on high in the slow cooker. I got a late start, so they're still not done, but by the time I'm cooking the chorizo, and I think I'm just going to take some beans and put them in there so they can finish cooking in the pan with everything else, because they have to simmer anyway. So, alright, so let's get to the stove and cook up some chorizo. Alright, so for those of you that have never used chorizo, this is basically what it looks like, and it breaks down as it cooks. So, and it'll create some grease, and this is what's going to give it the orange color. I got this chorizo at Walmart. I think it was just over $2. Alright everyone, so you can see how the chorizo is breaking down, creating some grease here. And I know this chorizo does not look appetizing coming out of the tube, or even right now as it's cooking, but when you mix it into your food, it does give it some good flavor. I use this for breakfast burritos. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and finish cooking up the chorizo. It's not done cooking up yet. And then I'll be back when we are putting some beans in here. Alright, so I've got the pan over here so I can take some beans out of the slow cooker. And you want to put some, make sure you get enough juice from the beans in there as well, because this is supposed to be juicy. I want to leave myself some beans as well, so I can make some refried beans. Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and throw everything in while we're here at the countertop. Get our bacon in there, our shallots, and our can of hot rotel tomatoes. Alright, so let's get back to the stove, mix this up, cover it, and let it simmer. Alright. I'll probably go ahead and put some more juice in here, because after I put everything else in, the bacon, shallots, and tomatoes, it got a little thicker. So just know that I'm going to put some more juice in here from the pinto beans. And you could see that orange color it has. Alright, so I'm going to throw some juice in there. I just won't record it, but know I'm doing it. I'm going to cover it and we're going to let it simmer. Alright everyone, so the charro beans are ready to be served. You can see how red they are. And I wouldn't want to eat them. So, and that's what charro beans are. So I've done this video a few times on the channel, but it is something Glenn likes to eat. So there it is. I'm going to serve him a bowl, and there is the charro beans. So I am actually just going to refry some beans for myself and put them in a tortilla with some cheese, and just have bean and cheese tacos. Alright. Alright everyone, so well, Glenn has his charro beans. I'm making myself toasted bean and cheese tacos. So they're not going to be like really crunchy. These are flour tortillas. So I'm just going to put beans and cheese right here and fold them over. Alright, I have my refried beans on there. Just going to throw some shredded cheese on there. And yes, this is the thin shredded cheese that didn't melt in the oven. But I did make some cheese quesadillas with them the other day, and they melted. I think just in the oven they don't melt very well, or at all. But I actually thought about it, and I remember I had this issue before. I'm holding the camera, so I don't have enough room on the stove for my tripod, so I'm holding it. I just like fold it over, press it down so the beans spread out more. But anyway, for this cheese, I had this issue before, and I remembered And somebody also made it in the made a comment about it, that the finely shredded cheese does not melt. But if you get the larger shredded cheese, like the thicker ones, they melt. So, and it's unfortunate because I have like 3 more bags of this finely shredded stuff, but I can use it for other stuff. When I put it in my food on the stovetop, it'll melt. You can see it's already melting. So I can still use it, and then I'll just get some other cheese for oven meals. Alright, so I'm going to make my toasted bean and cheese tacos.